Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working. Wow. Bob Arum back at it, saying he wants to make Terence Bud Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. Surprise, surprise, mother. We gonna talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Before I get started, make sure you guys use my link to get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension to level up your YouTube content. If you have a channel, doesn't matter the genre. I've personally used TUBEBUDDY over the years, and I started at 0 subscribers, scaled my channel to 200,000 subscribers plus and beyond. Use my link in the description. It does help the channel. TUBEBUDDY is a great utility and resource so you can strategize on your channel. It takes money to make money. Invest in yourself. All my young entrepreneurs, that's a great way to get started. And, you know, it just has some different features that you can't find on the regular YouTube upload process and platform. Use my link. Let's go. Now, Bob Arum did an interview with Barbershop Conversations, and this is what he said regarding Terence Crawford. He says, Sean Porter's father and trainer, Kenny Porter, came to our office 2 weeks ago to talk about Crawford and Porter fight. And then out of nowhere, the idea of a tremendous site fee, a possibility of doing Pacquiao versus Crawford came up. Obviously, it's more money for Terence Crawford. Terence would prefer a Pacquiao fight than anyone else. Yeah, we're going to see what happens, and we'll know this week whether Pacquiao Crawford can happen. If it doesn't happen, since Errol Spence clearly doesn't want to fight Crawford, I think that Crawford and Porter would be a tremendous fight. Bob Arum continues by saying, Terence Crawford, he wants to fight Spence, but Spence has said loud and clear he doesn't want to fight Crawford. Now, that's cap. Spence never said that. Spence never once said that he refuses and all that to fight Crawford. Listen, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun though, you know? And that's what we're seeing right now. Like, the bottom line is this, and I would love for someone to attempt to prove the Dawn wrong in the comments section. There was a point in time, a space in time, where 140, 147 was pretty well packed by Top Rank. Top Rank had the more established guys. Brandon Rios, Mike Alvarado, like guys that had established brands and names. They had Ruslan Provodnikov, Jesse Vargas, Timothy Bradley. They had Manny Pacquiao most famously, etc. And during that whole stretch, you never once seen Top Rank work with the other guys, the opposing sides of the street, aka PBC. And keep in mind, at that given space, at that point in time, you had a lot of guys on PBC that their brands in or around those weight divisions weren't as premier, or their names didn't have the same type of star power or branding power as some of their top-ranked contemporaries that I just mentioned. So what I mean is, when Tim Bradley was popping at during Pacquiao fights and stuff and getting Ruslan fights and winning fans over, Errol Spence was still a pro, but he was on his journey. He wasn't at that time a champion, right? He wasn't a champion, so he was still developing his brand. He might not have, depending on what year we're talking about, when some of these other fights like Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado and Pacquiao versus Rios and all that, Chris Algieri and Ruslan, when all these fights were happening, Errol Spence wasn't even a champion. And now you see he's the top of the totem pole with PBC. So a lot changes over time just from, continued efforts and whatnot. And the funny thing that's laughable is nobody brings this up except for the Dawn. When Bob Arum had all those players, he never matched them with guys like Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia at the time, that would have been, if he fought Zab Judah and then fought Manny Pacquiao, that would have been huge for his career, humongous, you know? If he would have fought Tim Bradley or fought and stopped Ruslan Provodnikov or something, you know, just the opportunity. Terence Crawford, any of these guys that were in or around the division, you know, that would have been huge for those PBC guys who were across the street. You know, imagine Adrian Broner and Ruslan Provodnikov, or Adrian Broner and Brandon Rios. They were going back and forth at the time, yada, yada, yada. But that whole duration, that whole stretch, you never seen Bob Arum or Top Rank look outside and think outside the box and all that stuff. So all this cap about Errol Spence is afraid and ducking Crawford, stop it, bro. Because like I said, it ain't no fun. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun go. This is the same type of politics, the same Cold War that has prevented fights, the same scenarios that have been the case in boxing for quite some time. And it was absolutely 1,000% inexplicitly the same thing when Top Rank had all those top guys at 140, 147. Simply put, Ruslan wasn't fighting Maidana and PBC guys, you know, or Broner Rios. None of those fights were happening. Now when Bob Arum is stifled in the 140, 147 range, not really 140 because they got Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor. That's a good fight. But really in the welterweight range, he's stifled and he don't have no one to match with Terence Crawford. Then now it just becomes a huge blame game and, you know, fake pressure like, oh, hey, make the Errol Spence fight. But guess what? Errol Spence ain't complaining. Fans of Errol Spence ain't complaining. You know why? Because he's getting the fights that are entertaining to fans. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. At the end of the day, you could say, no, he's not. He needs to fight Crawford. But his numbers and his turnouts and his attendance numbers are showing you that the fights that he's making are resonating with them because he's doing great things. He just outsold Canelo. He fought in December. Canelo fought in December. Both fights happened in Texas, and Errol Spence did a bigger live gate. So Bob Arum is using like little clever tactics to, you know, try to put pressure on the situation. And I have to clarify this. He's saying Crawford's wants Spence, and he said loud and clear. You know, Errol Spence has said loud and clear he don't want the fight. That's not true. Errol Spence has options without you. I said, he says that Spence don't want Crawford. That's not true. The real fact is Errol Spence has options without you. That's what this boils down to. And I don't knock him for continuing to do this because he has plentiful, reasonable fights that mean something. Like if we're really being honest, fighting Sean Porter got a better resume at welterweight than Terence Crawford do. And Errol Spence fought against Sean Porter in a unification. So how could we not say, and Sean Porter fought his ass off. So how could we say that was a bad fight for Errol when Sean Porter had one belt, just like Crawford got one belt, but what Sean Porter also has is a better resume. Sean Porter fought Kell Brook before Errol and Bud. And it was a close fight, even though he lost that, right? Sean Porter fought Adrian Broner, and beat him 11 rounds out of 12, basically. Sean Porter has experience from the amateur, sparred with Pacquiao and fought Demetrius Andrade. He fought Keith Thurman as a pro, Danny Garcia as a pro, and beat him, you know what I'm saying? So, like, how could we say, oh, Crawford versus Spence? Really, if we're really being honest, I personally think that's a great fight, but it's based on a pretense. Sean Porter, Errol Spence could be a harder fight for Errol than Crawford. We don't know because Crawford, in the same way, he's not as battle tested at that division. You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter, he took power from Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia and arguably won the Thurman fight and did beat Danny, and he fought Ugas. You see what I'm saying? Terence Crawford's resume does not stack up to that. He fought Jeff Horn. I thought he lost to Pacquiao. Fought Jose Benavidez. Tough fight, goes 12 rounds, and Benavidez won rounds in the beginning of the fight, and it was a competitive fight. And Benavidez was nursing an injury, they say, after being shot in the leg, right? Mean Machine. Who is that? Like, who did Mean Machine beat? So all this Crawford Spence stuff is cap. But speaking of cap, Bob Arum keeps throwing this out there that Crawford Pacquiao. So, it's going to be interesting to see Crawford's next move, y'all, because Bob Arum keeps saying, and I'll probably do a separate video about it, but Bob Arum keeps talking about a Crawford Pacquiao fight. Where is it at? This is like literally anybody with a brain will be able to see that this is conversations that have been had for literally, and I'm not joking, 5-6 years, where they link Crawford's name to Pacquiao, but it doesn't happen. Like, notice when Pacquiao left Top Rank, did his own thing, signed with PBC, his first fight was Broner. You could say, like, a lot of people would say Crawford is more deserving or something. Broner didn't deserve a Pacquiao fight. Some people would say that. But guess what? It don't matter. He got the fight. He got the opportunity. Win, lose, or draw. Ah, man, AB, y'all know I beat that boy. He got the opportunity. That's what the whole point is, right? Keith Thurman, he had inactivity and different stuff like that. But guess what? None of that matters. He got the opportunity. And now if Crawford don't get Pacquiao, after they keep talking about it, Ego Stradamus strikes again. And if Mikey Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence, Ugas, Ryan Garcia, all of them are all reasonable candidates in the Pacquiao sweepstakes and could very well get the fight before Terence Crawford. So it's going to be interesting to see how Crawford feels and what he says. If, again, after 5-6 years of linking the names together, he still don't get a Pacquiao fight. Like Bob Arum, oh, we should know next week. Oh, we want the fight in Dubai. Oh, we want to put the fight in Qatar. When is it going to happen? How does it take 5-6 years, but then Pacquiao goes to PBC and Broner gets it straight away? There was no hoopla. There was no bragging about it. There was no interviews with the media. The fight, simply put, just happened. Same thing with Keith Thurman, right? The fight just happened. We didn't have to look at 1,000 articles and headlines and sources say and tweets and, hyperbole. It was simply put, those fights were on the table. They negotiated. They made it work for both fighters. Here's your date. Here's the fight. But that has not been the case with Terence Bud Crawford. It has been, hey, let's talk about Pacquiao, but then we never get anywhere closer. I never even hear Pacquiao barely even talk about Crawford, let alone agree with what Arum is saying. So y'all could believe it if you want. Arum is also the same person that said that he detonated and blocked the fight. He said, I blocked the fight with Crawford and Pacquiao because I have a soft spot with Pacquiao from working with him so long, and I don't want to see him get brain damage. So how do we just get from Bob Arum making a comment saying I prevented the fight because I care about Pacquiao's brain and I don't want his brain to get damaged, to him doing an interview with Barbershop and he's saying we'll know something next week? I thought you didn't want him to get brain damage. So he's another year older. He's 42. He'd been out the ring since the Keith Thurman fight. So now you don't care about his brain? I thought he was fighting in Qatar last year. You know what I'm saying? It's just too many loopholes. Digital mob. We out.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.